Have you ever felt uncertain about who to trust as you navigate the challenges of aging? Do you find yourself constantly trying to please others at the expense of your happiness? In this video, we delve into 7 essential tips that will empower you to protect your emotional well-being, set healthy boundaries, and embrace positive changes in your later years. From recognizing toxic relationships to prioritizing your own needs, these insights are designed to help you live a more fulfilling and regret-free life. Stay tuned until the end to discover practical strategies that can transform your golden years into a time of true peace and joy. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. The first tip is, do not blindly trust everyone who approaches you. It may sound simple, but in reality, it's a deeply emotional and challenging truth, especially as we grow older. In our later years, loneliness can become a constant companion. The desire to maintain meaningful relationships can be overwhelming, sometimes to the point where we lower our defenses in search of connection. It's entirely natural. We are social beings, after all, and no one wants to feel alone. Here lies a harsh and painful reality. Not everyone who steps into your life comes with good intentions. It's heartbreaking, isn't it, to realize that not every smile, not every kind word, or every gesture of concern is genuine. Some people, whether out of their selfishness or their lack of empathy, will see your vulnerability and use it against you. They recognize your yearning for companionship, and instead of offering true friendship or love, they offer manipulation disguised as care. They know exactly when to step into your life, those moments when you feel fragile, alone, and in need of support. And they know precisely how to exploit those moments for their benefit. Think for a moment, have you noticed how certain people seem to show up just when you're going through something difficult? Maybe it's that distant relative who calls only when they need a favor, or that so-called friend who only reaches out when they sense that you're emotionally vulnerable. When you're feeling strong, confident, and self-assured, they are nowhere to be found. But as soon as life throws you a curveball, there they are, offering a shoulder to lean on, but with strings attached. Why is that? Why do they disappear when things are going well? It's because they are not truly invested in your happiness. These people thrive on your low moments. They are drawn to your sadness, your confusion, your need for support, not because they want to help, but because it benefits them in some way. Maybe they seek money, maybe it's favors, or perhaps it's something as simple as the control they feel in knowing that you need them. The truth is, they are not offering a true connection. They are using your trust as a weapon against you. And this is where it gets painful, when you realize that trusting too much, giving too freely without boundaries, can open doors to manipulation, emotional abuse, and even financial exploitation. The very people you let into your heart can sometimes be the ones who take the most from you, leaving you feeling even more alone and betrayed. This is why it is so important, especially as we age, to develop a more discerning eye. And it's not about becoming cold or distant, nor is it about distrusting everyone you meet. Life is still full of good people, people who genuinely care about you. But it's about finding a balance, a way to remain open to love and connection, but also to protect yourself. You need to learn to say no when something doesn't feel right, to set boundaries that keep you safe, and to question the motives of those who enter your life, especially when their actions don't align with their words. And if you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Think of it this way: your peace, your stability, and your dignity are priceless. You have spent years cultivating these things. You have survived heartache, disappointment, setbacks, and you've come out the other side stronger. So why should you allow anyone to come into your life and jeopardize all that you have built? Your emotional health is a treasure, one that you need to protect fiercely, especially in the later stages of life, when peace of mind becomes even more precious. Consider the consequences of letting your guard down too much. If you aren't careful, you might find yourself entangled in relationships or situations that drain you, rob you of your joy, and leave you feeling worse than before. No one deserves to spend their final years in regret, surrounded by people who take advantage of them. It is a devastating thought, but it is one we must confront head-on to protect ourselves. So how do you guard your heart without shutting it down completely? The answer lies in being vigilant yet open, cautious yet kind. Trust people, yes, but trust with your eyes wide open. Pay attention to patterns. Does someone only come around when they need something from you? Do they disappear when you're happy and only reappear when they can benefit from your troubles? These are the red flags that we often overlook, especially when we crave connection. However, overlooking them can be costly. Learning to question and observe the people around you will help you maintain your peace of mind and ensure that the relationships you keep are healthy, mutually supportive, and genuine. Surround yourself with those who lift you, who are there for you through the highs and the lows without any ulterior motives. And when you do encounter those who seem to be more interested in what they can take from you than what they can give, don't be afraid to walk away. It might be hard at first, but protecting yourself is worth it in the long run. The truth is, the older we get, the more we realize that life is too short to spend with the wrong people. You deserve to live your final years with peace, surrounded by love and respect, free from the burden of toxic relationships and emotional manipulation. You deserve to trust, but also to guard your heart with the wisdom that life has taught you. Because at the end of the day, your happiness is yours to protect, and you have the right to keep it safe from those who do not have your best interests at heart. So yes, trust, but trust wisely. Love, but love with boundaries. And always remember, you are worth protecting. The second tip is, stop living to please others, especially your family. I know it sounds harsh, and it's a difficult truth to embrace. After all, for most of our lives, we've been taught that family comes first, that we must meet the expectations of our children, grandchildren, spouses, and everyone else who relies on us. And perhaps for many years, you have willingly given up parts of yourself, your dreams, and your desires to be there for them. But here's the heartbreaking reality. Living solely to please others is not love. It's a form of imprisonment. And it's hard to admit, but when you constantly prioritize everyone else's happiness over your own, you start to lose yourself. Have you ever stopped to wonder why, despite all the sacrifices you've made, there's still this aching feeling of emptiness? That nagging sense of dissatisfaction, that no matter how much you give, it's never enough. That's because there will always be more demands, more expectations, more things that others want from you. And you can pour your heart and soul into trying to meet these expectations, but the sad truth is that it often little more than ingratitude. It's incredibly painful to realize, but in many families, the elderly are seen as a never-ending source of support. You become the one everyone turns to when they need emotional comfort, financial help, or practical assistance. But in the process, what happens to you? Who takes care of you while you're busy taking care of everyone else? Isn't it time you asked yourself that? The reality is that living your life to please others, even your family, can leave you feeling drained, unappreciated, and deeply unsatisfied. The more you sacrifice your own needs, desires, and well-being for the sake of others, the more you might find yourself feeling trapped in a cycle of unending obligation. And what do you get in return? Often it's not the appreciation or love you deserve, but rather more demands and even ungratefulness. How often have you done so much, only to feel like your efforts have gone unnoticed or unappreciated? It's a painful truth, but the more you give, the more some people will expect, and the cycle continues unless you break it. Here's the controversial part that may be hard to hear. This isn't love. Love is about mutual respect and care, not sacrificing yourself to the point of losing who you are. Real love does not demand that you become a prisoner to others' needs. It does not require you to give up your happiness, your time, and your health for the sake of meeting someone else's expectations. Yet, many of us confuse these sacrifices for love because we've been conditioned to think that's what it means to be a good parent, grandparent, or spouse. But it's not. Now, I want you to ask yourself something. Who is looking after you? Who is ensuring that you are happy, fulfilled, and well taken care of? Chances are, while you've been running around trying to make sure everyone else is happy, no one has been doing the same for you. And this is where the true tragedy lies in spending your life living for others. You often forget to live for yourself. You have reached a point in your life where your happiness, your desires, and your well-being should be the top priority. You've given so much of yourself to others already. What's left for you? This is the time to start thinking about your own needs, your dreams, and your happiness. It's time to stop feeling guilty for wanting to do the things you've always dreamed of, but never had the time or the courage to pursue. This stage of life is not about meeting others' expectations. It's about fulfilling your own. You deserve to live a life that makes you happy. And that starts with freeing yourself from the invisible chains of obligation that have kept you bound for so long. Now think about it. What would your life look like if you started living for yourself? What would you do if you no longer felt the pressure to always be available, to always say yes, and to always be the one sacrificing? It might feel foreign at first, but the freedom to pursue your joy, explore your passions, and take care of yourself is not something to feel guilty about. It's something to embrace. If your family truly loves you, they will understand. They will respect your need to finally put yourself first, and if they don't, that's not your fault. Their expectations of you are not your responsibility. Your well-being must come first now. You've spent your life caring for others' children, grandchildren, spouses, and it's only fair that you start caring for yourself with the same energy and love. It's not selfish, it's necessary. Enough of living under the pressure of always meeting someone else's needs. Enough of sacrificing your time, your finances, and your health to please others. You are allowed to live for yourself, and you deserve it without guilt and fear. It's time to break free from the weight of other people's expectations and start living the life you want to live. Or whether that means traveling, picking up a hobby, or simply saying no more often, the choice is yours. You've earned the right to live your life on your terms. You've already given so much of yourself now, it's your turn to receive, to enjoy, and to live for yourself. So stop living for others. Stop letting the fear of disappointing your family keep you in a state of constant obligation. It's time to reclaim your life, your happiness, and your freedom. This is your life, and it's worth living for you. The third tip is, do not be afraid to distance yourself from toxic people, even if they are part of your family. I understand how difficult this can be. Family, after all, is supposed to be our haven, a source of love, comfort, and support. Yet, the bitter truth is that not every family member contributes to your happiness. As we age, the pressure to keep the peace, avoid conflict, and hold on to family relationships at all costs becomes heavier. But the question you must ask yourself is, at what cost? How many times have you endured toxic behavior, abusive words, emotional manipulation, or even outright disrespect just because society tells us that family is everything? We are bombarded with the idea that blood is thicker than water, and that we must endure and forgive all in the name of family unity. But what is the cost to you? How many times have you sacrificed your emotional well-being to maintain a relationship with someone who drains your energy and leaves you feeling worse every time you're around them? This is where the hard truth comes in. Sometimes the greatest act of love you can show yourself is to distance yourself from those toxic people. It doesn't matter if they're family. It doesn't matter if it's an ungrateful child who only calls when they need something, a grandchild who takes advantage of your kindness, or even a spouse who no longer shows you the respect and love you deserve. Your mental and emotional health is worth more than any blood tie. There is a pervasive myth that as we age, we are meant to tolerate anything in the name of family harmony, that we should swallow snakes to keep the peace. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Old age is not a time to endure. It's a time to seek peace and joy, to cultivate relationships that uplift and comfort you, not ones that bring stress, sadness, or pain. You've lived too long and worked too hard to spend these precious years in the presence of people who do nothing but bring you down. Imagine the freedom that would come with setting clear boundaries, not out of anger or revenge, but out of love for yourself. Boundaries that say, I deserve respect. I deserve kindness. I deserve to be treated with dignity. And if those boundaries are crossed repeatedly, it's okay, more than okay, to distance yourself. Family ties do not give anyone the right to hurt you. Blood relations do not justify abusive behavior. From love, real love, does not require you to suffer silently or to endure endless pain in the name of keeping the peace. Hey, think about what your life could look like if you surrounded yourself only with those who truly care about you. And how much lighter would you feel without the weight of toxic relationships on your shoulders? How much more peace could you have in your heart if you no longer had to endure the drama, the manipulation, the negativity? Or your time is too precious to waste on people who do not value you and who do not bring positivity into your life? It's time to reclaim that time and invest it in people who love you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. This might mean making some incredibly tough decisions. It might mean distancing yourself from those who have been in your life for decades, those you thought would always be there for you. But if their presence in your life is toxic, if their actions cause you harm, then it's time to choose yourself. Because here's the truth: your well-being, your peace of mind, and your happiness should always come first. And only you can protect that. Don't let the guilt hold you back. Society may try to convince you that walking away from toxic family members is wrong and that you must endure for the sake of your family. But the truth is, you deserve better. You deserve relationships that bring you joy, not ones that cause you pain. And you deserve to be surrounded by people who love and respect you, not those who use you or manipulate you for their gain. And if you've been questioning whether it's time to make a change, trust your instincts. That you've spent your life caring for others, sacrificing your own needs for the sake of your family. But now is the time to prioritize your happiness. You don't have to be trapped in toxic relationships, no matter who the other person is. Family or not, no one has the right to drain your energy or undermine your self-worth. Imagine waking up each day knowing that the people around you genuinely care about your well-being. Imagine the peace that would come from knowing you've surrounded yourself with love, respect, and positivity. It's a powerful feeling, one that you deserve to experience. You've already given so much of yourself to others. Now it's time to give something back to yourself. The gift of peace, the gift of joy, the gift of self-respect. So, don't be afraid to distance yourself from those who harm you, even if they share your last name. See, that easy, but it's necessary. Your well-being is your responsibility, and no one, no matter how close they are to you, has the right to take that away. The fourth tip is, stop waiting for others to recognize your sacrifices. This truth can be bitter, especially if you spent a lifetime giving so much of yourself to others, your children, your spouse, your friends, hoping that one day they will truly see and appreciate all you've done for them. But here's the harsh reality. Sometimes that recognition never comes. And if you cling to the hope that it will, you risk letting that unfulfilled expectation eat away at your soul. How many times have you caught yourself reflecting on all the sacrifices you've made, wondering why no one seems to notice? Why does the gratitude you long for never arrive? You've given so much of your time, your energy, your dreams, all for the sake of those you love, and yet, the thank you deserve often feels like it's lost somewhere in the distance, just out of reach. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? To pour your heart into others and still feel like it's never fully acknowledged. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. But here's the truth you need to embrace for your peace of mind. Waiting for recognition puts your happiness in the hands of others. It places you in a vulnerable position where your sense of worth is tied to someone else's words or actions, and that's a dangerous place to be. The longer you wait for that validation, the more room you give for bitterness and resentment to grow. When the thanks you deserve don't come, when the appreciation you've longed for remains unsaid, it can feel like a wound that deepens over time, and slowly it can start to corrode the joy you once found in giving. But here's what you must understand, and it's crucial: the value of your sacrifices does not depend on whether or not they are recognized. The love you've given, the things you've done, those acts are a reflection of who you are, not what others think of you. Your generosity, your compassion, and your willingness to sacrifice for those you care about, those are part of your essence. They are what make you who you are, and that's something no one can take away from you, whether they acknowledge it or not. The key to finding peace in this stage of life is to free yourself from the need for external validation. You've done enough. You've given enough. You are enough. Your worth is not dependent on others acknowledging it. This is especially important in your later years, when time becomes even more precious. You cannot afford to spend these moments waiting for something that may never happen. And don't waste your valuable time hoping that others will suddenly realize the depth of your sacrifices. That realization may never come, and that's okay. Acceptance is the path to freedom. Accepting that the recognition you've waited for might never arrive doesn't mean your efforts were meaningless or in vain. Far from it. It means you're choosing to live on your terms, without the invisible chains of others' expectations holding you back. You're choosing to live freely, to find joy in what you've done, because you know the value of your sacrifices, even if no one else does. Take a moment to reflect. What would your life look like if you stopped waiting for others to validate your worth? What if you chose to find contentment in knowing that you've done your best, that you've lived with love, and that your sacrifices are a testament to your strength, regardless of whether anyone else acknowledges them? Imagine the peace that would come with releasing that burden of expectation. No more waiting, no more hoping for something that may never come, just living in the knowledge that you have done enough. Your life is your own, and your value has always been within you. You've made sacrifices out of love, and love doesn't need an audience to be real. You've given your time, your energy, and your heart, and none of that is diminished just because someone else hasn't recognized it. Be proud of who you are and all that you've done, but don't allow your happiness to depend on whether or not others see it. That kind of validation is fleeting and unpredictable, and you deserve something far more solid. Live for yourself now. Be proud of what you've accomplished, but let that pride come from within, not from the approval of others. You've spent so much of your life living for others. Now is the time to live for you. There is no need to feel guilty about this shift. You have earned the right to prioritize your happiness and to celebrate your own life without waiting for anyone else's applause. Your sacrifices were not for nothing. They have shaped the person you are today, resilient, loving, and strong. You have given so much to those around you, and you deserve to feel at peace with all you've done, even if the recognition you hoped for never arrives. Your worth is not defined by others' gratitude, it's defined by the love and care you've put into everything you've done. Hold on to that and let it be enough, because you are enough. The fifth tip is, stop using your age as an excuse not to change. I know it's not an easy pill to swallow. For so many of us, age has become a comfortable justification, a reason to avoid trying new things, breaking old habits, or pursuing new sources of happiness. We say, "I'm too old for that," so often that we begin to believe it, letting those words shape our reality. But here's the hard truth: as long as you are alive, there's always room for change. How many times have you stopped yourself from exploring something new because you felt like your time had passed? How many opportunities have you let slip through your fingers because you told yourself that change is for the young? Age, when seen through the lens of fear, can become a prison. It can trap you in patterns of complacency and the belief that growth and transformation are no longer within your reach. But the reality is quite the opposite. The only real barrier to change is not your age, but the limitations you've allowed your mind to impose. Many people believe that after a certain point in life, whether it's 50 or they resign themselves to living out their remaining years in the same way they've always lived, believing that the window for new beginnings is closed. But that's a dangerous myth, and it leads to the false idea that old age is a time of resignation rather than renewal. The truth is that old age can be the most powerful time for change. Why? Because you have a gift that the young do not possess: wisdom. You've lived through so many experiences, seen the highs and lows, and you've learned countless lessons along the way. But here's the catch: that wisdom only matters if you dare to use it. Imagine for a moment how many opportunities have you missed because you believed it was too late. How many dreams have you tucked away, telling yourself that they belong to the past? How many adventures have gone unexperienced, and how many loves have gone unfelt? All because you convinced yourself that change is no longer for you. That's the real tragedy, isn't it? Not that you're too old, but that you believed you were. That belief has likely robbed you of some of life's most beautiful possibilities. What few people dare to tell you is that age can be your greatest advantage. The perspective you gain with time, the depth of understanding that comes with years of life, is something you couldn't have fully appreciated in your younger days. You know yourself better now than you ever did before. You understand what truly matters in life, and that wisdom gives you the power to make informed, meaningful changes if only you allow yourself to believe it's possible. The controversial truth is this: it doesn't matter if you are 60, 70, 80, or even older. If there is something in your life that you want to change, the only real thing holding you back is you. It's not the years that have passed, but the mindset that has been shaped by fear, doubt, and society's limited expectations of aging. Yes, it's uncomfortable to admit, but there is also an incredible liberation in this realization. Because once you accept that your age is not the barrier, you become free. Free to pursue the changes that can bring new meaning, new joy, and new vitality to your life. And think about it, what if you stopped viewing your age as a limitation and instead saw it as a launching platform? What if the wisdom and experience you gathered over the years become your greatest tools for transformation? As long as you're still breathing, there's potential for growth. You are not stuck. The true limitation is in your mind, not in the number of years you've lived. And that mindset, unlike age, is something you can change. How often have you found yourself thinking, it's too late for me to start that hobby, or to learn that skill, or to pursue that dream? But here's the beautiful truth. As long as you're alive, it's never too late. Change doesn't have an expiration date. Transformation isn't reserved for the young. It's often in the later stages of life, when the pressures of youth have faded, that we have the clearest vision of what we truly want. And it's never too late to pursue it. Stop waiting for the right time, because the right time is now. The years you've lived are not a weight that holds you down. They are the wings that can lift you if you allow them. You have the wisdom, the knowledge, and the insight to make changes that are deeply meaningful and aligned with who you are today, not who you were 30 years ago. That's the beauty of getting older. You can create the life you want with intention and purpose, free from the reckless haste of youth. So, take a moment and think about the dreams you've left behind, the passions you've ignored because you thought your time had passed, the changes you've longed to make but felt you were too old to pursue. Now is the time to reclaim those dreams, to rediscover those passions, and to embrace the possibility of change. Whether it's a small shift in perspective or a bold new adventure, your age is not an obstacle, it's your advantage. Because here's the ultimate truth. The only real limitation is the one you place on yourself. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is the belief that you're too old to change. And that belief is not true. As long as you are alive, there's potential for transformation. Whether it's learning something new, breaking old habits, or simply allowing yourself to be happy in a different way, it's all within your reach. Don't let your age define you. Let your spirit, your dreams, and your desire for growth be what defines you. Because as long as you are breathing, there's still time to change, to grow, and to live a life that is rich with possibility. A real adventure begins when you stop seeing your age as an excuse and start seeing it as a source of power. The sixth tip is, do not cling to the past as if it were your only refuge. As we age, nostalgia becomes a frequent companion, and in small doses, it can offer comfort, reminding us of the beautiful moments we experienced and the people we've loved. But when you begin to live more in the past than in the present, you unknowingly imprison yourself within memories that, although precious, should not overshadow the life you are living right now. How many times have you caught yourself saying, "In my time, things were better," or "I was happier before"? It's easy to fall into that mindset. After all, the past feels safe, familiar, and often idealized. But here's the difficult truth. While those memories hold incredible value, they should not define your present. You are not just your past. Yes, it shaped you, but it doesn't have to control you. The danger of clinging too tightly to the past is that it blinds you to the possibilities of the present. By constantly yearning for what was, you risk missing out on what still can be. The present may not seem as perfect as those golden memories you hold dear, but it is the most real, tangible thing you have. Wallace, this moment right now is your life, and if you spend too much time dwelling on the past, you'll rob yourself of the chance to live fully in the here and now. You may still have many opportunities before you, but you won't see them if your eyes are always looking back. Now think about it. How often do you find yourself lost in thought, reminiscing about the way things used to be? How many conversations do you have where you compare the present to the past, concluding that the past was better? It's a natural human tendency, but it can also be a trap. Life is made up of cycles. The joys and sorrows of the past had their time and place. But now it's time for something new. Holding onto those memories too tightly can prevent you from creating new ones. And that, my friend, is the real tragedy. What you experienced before was beautiful, no doubt. Those memories are treasures, but they were meant to serve their purpose in that moment, not forever. The challenge now is to find meaning and joy in your present life. What can you still experience, feel, and create? How can you embrace the opportunities that are still in front of you? You are not just a collection of past experiences, you are a living, breathing person with the ability to shape your future and make the most of the time you have left. It's tempting to believe that the best days are behind you and that what was lost can never be regained. But the truth is, life continues to offer surprises, even in the later stages. There's still new joys to be discovered, new relationships to be nurtured, and new adventures to be had. But you have to be willing to open your eyes to them. By clinging to the past, you close yourself off from the beauty and potential of the present, and that is a loss you don't have to endure. Ask yourself, what new memories can you create now? What have you always wanted to do, but held back from because of fear or doubt? What small joys could you discover today if you allowed yourself to let go of the past and fully embrace the present? These are the questions that lead to transformation, to living a life that is rich and fulfilling in this moment, not just in the memories of what once was. Yes, the past was important, and it shaped you into the person you are today, but you are still growing, still evolving. The present moment is a gift, and it's one that you should not let slip through your fingers, because you're too busy holding on to yesterday. The memories you cherish will always be a part of you, but don't let them become the only part of you. You are more than your past, you are also your future. Imagine how much more fulfilling life could be if you stopped living in the shadows of what has already happened and started embracing the possibilities of today. And what if, instead of lamenting how things used to be, you took the time to appreciate what you have right now? There is still so much to see, to feel, to experience. The world is still full of opportunities for joy, connection, for love, but you have to be willing to see them. And that means letting go of the belief that the best is behind you. Life continues to unfold, and it's up to you whether you choose to be a part of it or remain trapped in what is already past. Don't let nostalgia blind you to the present. Remember, every day is an opportunity to create new memories, to find new sources of happiness, to reinvent yourself in ways you never thought possible. The past has played its role, now it's time for you to step fully into the present and make the most of the time you have. Your life is still unfolding, and there is so much more to be experienced. Don't waste it by living in memories alone. Embrace today and look forward to tomorrow. Let go of the idea that your best days are behind you. They're not. As long as you are alive, there is still more to live, more to love, more to be. The 7th tip is, do not masturbate every day. It's a conversation that makes some uncomfortable, but avoiding it only prevents us from understanding how to create a healthier relationship with our bodies and emotions. Masturbation, when practiced in moderation, is a natural and healthy activity, a way to explore your body and experience pleasure. But when it becomes a daily or compulsive habit, it can signal something deeper, like an attempt to escape emotions, loneliness, or dissatisfaction with your life. In old age, excessive masturbation can have more serious effects than we often acknowledge, both physically and mentally. The body changes over time, and what may have felt fine in younger years can now leave you feeling drained, fatigued, or even emotionally disconnected. Have you ever asked yourself why you feel the need to masturbate every day? It's worth reflecting on this, because often it's not just about sexual desire. It can be a way to fill an emotional void, ease stress, or mask feelings of loneliness or frustration that haven't been properly addressed. What seems like a quick fix can become a habit that keeps you stuck in a cycle of immediate gratification, making it harder to seek out the deeper, more fulfilling connections that truly bring joy and satisfaction. Masturbating every day can seem harmless, but if it becomes a go-to solution for emotional distress, it might be taking the place of more meaningful ways to deal with those feelings. The truth is, as we age, balance becomes even more important in all areas of life, including how we approach our physical needs. Daily masturbation can drain your energy, and not just physically, can contribute to a sense of isolation. You might feel disconnected from those around you, especially if masturbation starts to replace real human intimacy. In some cases, it can even interfere with your relationships, creating a barrier between you and your partner or loved ones. And when that happens, it can leave you feeling even more isolated than before. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Instead of turning to masturbation as a daily ritual, Why not explore other ways to fulfill your emotional and physical needs? There are so many activities that can bring lasting satisfaction and fulfillment without leading you down a path of compulsion. Taking a walk in nature, diving into a good book, practicing hobbies that excite you, or having meaningful conversations with friends, these are all ways to nourish your soul, your mind, and your body. These activities provide genuine connections and lasting joy, and they don't come with the side effects that can accompany excessive masturbation. It's important to remember that balance is key. This isn't about eliminating masturbation, it's about reducing the frequency and making sure it's part of a healthy lifestyle, rather than a way to escape from emotions or boredom. But cutting back, you may find that you open yourself up to new forms of pleasure and well-being that are more deeply satisfying and fulfilling. You may even discover a deeper sense of joy in everyday activities, relationships, and experiences that were being overshadowed by compulsive habit. The goal isn't to deprive yourself of pleasure, far from it. The goal is to ensure that your pursuit of pleasure is balanced and aligned with your overall well-being. Masturbation, in moderation, can be part of a healthy life, but it shouldn't take the place of real emotional connections or meaningful activities that bring you joy. When you find a balance, you'll see that life offers so many other sources of happiness, and you won't feel the need to rely on one habit to get you through the day. So, take a step back and reflect. Is daily masturbation helping you live the life you truly want? Or is it a temporary fix that leaves you feeling empty after the moment passes? By shifting your focus to other fulfilling activities, you'll discover that life has much more to offer. Moderation will allow you to explore new dimensions of pleasure, connection, and well-being, ones that contribute to a more balanced, satisfying life. And ultimately, you'll feel more in control of your happiness, realizing that true fulfillment comes from a variety of sources, not just from one habit. As we come to the end of this video, I hope these 7 tips have given you valuable insights into how to live a more fulfilling, balanced life as you age. What have you learned so far? Which tip resonated with you the most? Now take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to bring into practice in your own life. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to leave your comment below. And remember, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss out on future content designed to inspire and support you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.